Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing today? Happy Friday, end of another week of trading. Good morning, Heinrich. Good morning, Patrick. Happy Friday to you, too. Good morning, Sterling. That's a funny comment, Sterling. I can't. Abdel El Sisi for being the first person to become the president of two different countries, Egypt and Mexico. So they're going to build the wall. They're going to build a wall in Gaza and have Mexico pay for it, huh? I mean, I'm not even going to comment on this joke. We had the revision, the December CPI revised slightly lower, except the one X food energy stayed the same. So a little spike a little bit ago in the markets and then backing off from that. What else do we have? Happy Friday. Happy all-time highs, George. Good S&P 5,000 morning. It is that good. We've hit the S&P. SPX hit 5,000 yesterday. Good morning, Legion Reaver. All right. So, very, very quiet news day today. We got Logan speaking. Not expecting much. We got the rig counts for crude traders. That's it. I'm really going to be watching for next Tuesday, especially with the January CPIs coming out. Because we're getting a cycle top area. Monday's really got nothing. That's what I'm just because I'm so focused on that today. There might be some profit taking this afternoon. It's been a pretty strong up week, but that's the big thing on my radar with cycles getting to top area and forming sloppy wedge patterns. You see everything just grinding higher. All your Magnificent Seven grinding higher. Costco's just keeps running. Everything priced to perfection. Very little red besides some travel services stuff and Broadcom. Groups, let me just do a quick refresh. Comm services and technology leading it higher, but everything positive. Everything positive going into the cash open on Friday. Fed watch still has a pause for March, and then a bunch of cuts. So market's still pricing that in. Fear and greed still back into extreme greed. Nothing much has changed in there. Pepsi beat on EPS, missed on revenue. Remember, we're seeing some key misses on revenue. And that's the one I really pay a little more attention to because you can really game the EPS at this point. But that's it for earnings. If I was a company, I'd still do an earnings on Friday after the close just to mess with people. That would be fun. But other than that, like earnings, we're past all the big boys, so earnings is starting to wind down, but we'll still have some key things come up now. Here's what I'm paying attention to. This is a sloppy wedging pattern, but we're really wedging with backed overbought. So, and it looks like unless this thing really pushes higher, we're going to have a key divergence with a sloppy wedge pattern with cycles at the top on the daily and the weekly. Is there any topping pattern? The only thing is a sloppy wedge. It's against the rotation zone. But that's, I mean, if we do this and clone this and we move it, and that'll have to be into the course too, how to do wedge patterns, which I have not taught in a while. But the roughly puts us, if this breaks, it roughly just puts us back in the middle of the daily rotation zone. So is it a major topping pattern? Now, any minor topping pattern could turn into significant more topping pattern, but this thing's getting really overheated. What's this? How many weeks up? Like 14 of 15 or something? It's getting like, I think this might be the longest streak. Did I see something about that? The longest streak, if we close above 5K today, the longest up streak since like what, August in 1929. That does not have to mean, because if people say, well, then we crashed. Well, that does not mean we have to crash, but at least there should be some consolidation. And investor surveys are coming out super bullish. Also, if you look at the bigger picture, I'm just going to do a little more bigger picture stuff today. This technically is a rising, we don't even have a good pausing bar yet, but this is technically wedging up. Even if you can see it better if you come from this without that little pivot. But if we want to use this thing and then we clone this one, I'm just pointing out to where if you start getting the bigger correction, this could, because this is going to take time, but this could easily take us back to 4,500 easily at some point. Not saying that has to happen either, because we haven't even closed below the wedge on a daily, let alone weekly basis. But I am keeping an eye on that, especially with the CPI numbers coming out next week. Maybe they're going to come out dovish, and this thing will just keep climbing, and then we have the next targets higher, 5,100 to 5,107. And then what are we sitting at? Come on. Maybe I should have just kept it on the weekly. Then we have it at 5,134. And 5,134 is a very major area. So, what else do we have here? Good. Let's see. Who did I leave off with? Did I say good morning to Legion Reaver? There's already a very impressive, well-built... Yeah, to keep the Gaussians out. Yep. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Patrick. Puppy snacks for the AZ trip. Well, that's wonderful. They're going to appreciate that. Lots of puppy snacks. Thank you. I will be stocking the minivan with puppy snacks. Still can't believe I'm driving a minivan now. Yeah, our country is in big trouble. I like the Biden thing yesterday, I am mentally fit, blah, blah, blah. That's, then he mixes up the world leaders. Come on. Oh, I'm serious. Can we do something better than people old, like super old? There's nothing better out there. Hey, Christoph. Good morning, Royal Palms. Good morning, Jacob. Yeah, don't forget to like. We don't have enough likes here. We have a lot of people in here, and we only have 8 likes so far. So that should give you an area. But even if this does pull back, even if it pulls back to just a weekly rotation zone, that's about 4,870 at this point. And that'll keep rising, 4,870, 4,900. So we could, even on a pullback to there, it could be a bounce. And I'm not talking today. There's not much going on today. Besides, going to be watching for some profit taking this afternoon. Another sloppy wedging pattern with the NASDAQ. Sorry, I'm dealing with a really bad headache today, so just trying to get through this live stream too. But this is some of the prep I'm going to be doing this weekend anyways, which would just, it could reconnect us with the bottom of the rotation zone for worst case, but it hasn't even rolled over yet. Not even a rollover yet. There's not even a short. We had this little spike high in the CPI revisions. You can see it right here, right at the 730 CPI revisions, and coming back down. If we come back up, I'm watching 17,976 and then 18K are my targets today. If we come back up, I'm now going to be watching though for more key resistance up around the 17,976. Key support is about 17,850. So, even unless we really start closing below yesterday's close, there's not even a minor topping area, and at least that would start breaking that wedge. The Dow, still the double is in play. The rotation zone out of the way, but it would need a close all the way back below 38,310. 38,310. Everything spiked high and then coming back down. So here, going in the open, now you can go back and do this on your own charts. Whatever lows made in the open, really focus on where that 62.5 is. So, for example, see how I made that spike high to this key low right here. Now, if we go lower in the open, you're going to want to ratchet that down, but pay really close attention to 62.5. And on the first bounce, I'd watch the 50% levels. So for the Dow, it would be 38,911, then 38,928. So that's how I would set this up based off this pre-market price action. Russell, back to the 50% harmonics, back into the key reversal area. Trying to make we had the little higher higher low. It's going to be interesting to see if it down makes a lower high or if it can push up and close above the 62.5. But that's where that sits. Not much besides, I mean, you could do the same thing. For example, in the Russell, you're just going to want to use, and on this instance, here's the low that you should use. So that would be 2005.4 in the Russell would be the key level on the closing basis. You'd use intraday, but 2003.4 on any spike up with the open. VIX, still no fear. Still, though, stalling out. We're still stair-stepping higher. Still stair-stepping higher. Has not been able to return to the very key lower. So it's making higher, but still vol sellers are still selling volatility, buying everything else. Where do we say? Oh, hey, Christoph. Thanks for the super sticker from Christoph Shiba Dog. Shouting good luck in a megaphone. Well, thank you very much. Have a good trip. Thank you. Well, it's not going to be for a couple weeks. I mean, the house goes up on the 20th. So we still got, and the day before that, the 19th, is a market holiday. Yes, it is a market holiday for the stocks. So, but the house goes up, and I think it'll go into contract quickly, and then we're going to be pushing for a fast close. But we'll be leaving sometime after that. So I'll be around. I got to move my office to a new location in the house this weekend. It'll be better to show it. So bear with me. The sound quality might not be as good next week. And I'm not going to try to set everything up and perfect the sound quality for somewhere I might just be live streaming from under a month for. So I'm just letting everybody know, but we will have the live streams. The DAX also wedging up. But this, I'm just watching. These really need to break with some momentum, not just start easing off. These wedge patterns really need to break, but that would just really roughly be with a return to the 50 EMA. And you know what? So we'll keep an eye on that. The first key level I'd watch, though, is this 16,915 to 16,930 for any DAX traders. If it does break, it's got some major resistance at the 17,130 area. Above there at 17,205. The notes, we triggered. We bounced to separating rotation zone. We've rolled over. It's going to be interesting to see. I doubt this is going to be massively moving in front of next Tuesday's CPI numbers, but that's what's key. Hey, the market is fugazi. Well, that's a good term. Anybody ever listen to the band Fugazi, the DC punk rock hardcore band called Fugazi that only put on like cheap ticket shows? That was actually I used to listen to a lot of punk music back when I was in high school. I had a mohawk and everything. The yields, still no trigger. Still nothing triggering there. So that's what I'm really paying attention to today. By the way, back to the note, the futures, I'm going to be seeing today if the weekly closes below this 110.26. 10-2s, not much to talk about. Dollar index, this is still not a double. If it does break lower, the key support is back at the 200 in the prior breakout area, about 103.20. Kalani, more coffee money. I'm going to need the coffee. Thank you so much. I'm going to need it. I really appreciate that, Kalani. And we'll go take a look at Bitcoin in a second. You can't short the market. I'm not recommending shorting it. Is that a deep double bottom coin daily? Is it time to set a trailing stop on Bitcoin? We'll get a look at Bitcoin in 1 second. Crude, no close above the 62.5, popping above this. Really pay attention to where this closes today. 76.34 is the technical level to the penny. If it reverses down there, it'll be a red candle then with a spike just above it and a spike above it yesterday. Then I'd start watching for the pullback. If we close above it, 77.32, then 78.31. Still making higher lows. Still, remember on the weekly, holding the 200 week. That's the key tipping point, the 200 week. Gold, nothing. Now, yen, yesterday closing above the 75, so I'm going to be watching for a return to this 150 area. Is trading against some very key resistance right now in the short term. See right here, key resistance shelf, but if it blows through there, 150 is the magnet price. Euro, little flagging now, flagging recovery pattern. You know, the key resistance here is about 108.20. Pound, just really paying attention if we get between the 50 and 62.5. We have a little dollar weakness this morning. Let me get to Bitcoin, then we'll do the spiders. So we had the head and shoulders, as pointed out. We mapped out the things saying 47 was the next key target. And then you're at 48,200. We have not got there yet. Do you have, the longer term, is that a double? It's a potential double. Let me just switch this over to this tab. Yes, this would be a potential double. Fits in the rules. By the way, if you're using these retracement levels, look at that. 47,777 is the 87.5. And that's where you can refine some of these targets between the two. I always do that for myself. I'll look, and you see also these tops were there. That's a really good, at least short-term topping area between that and the 48,221. Now, this is a good area to trail a stop, depending on your time frame. Because, is it a valid double? Yeah. It would need a close back below 38.5. 38.5. So that could be a faraway trailing area. You know, first, it's really got to, if you're a fan of Bitcoin, but first, the first key level, even if it pulled back to 43,950, it would still be just a normal pullback. Wouldn't look as good on the chart, but it would be a normal pullback. All right, on the spiders, 498.71, 499.43. The spiders just are really itching to hit that 500. But 499.75, then 500, and then 503.50 roughly. Can pull these off. Support would be to yesterday's high, 498.71, and then to the close, 490, then to 498.10. That's really the levels I'm watching for today. The Qs hitting the next little minor harmonic area. This 433.55 area, 433.60 area, 434.16, and then the next key area, we can't even get another decent pausing bar. The next key area is 438.50 to 440.79. Other than that, I mean, this is where we can't even get decent. We got a short-term pausing bar, but those targets have already been hit. 434.25 is where we're opening. So just above that 434.16, if we stall out in that area, I'd watch for the pullback to yesterday's high first, 433.56, and then the close, 432.79. The major support level on the NASDAQ is about 430. Are you serious? 20K next week easily? It's going to go up over 10% next week. Coco, I guess it could happen in these markets, but 10% rally in a 1 week in the NASDAQ? Over 10% potentially, because we're not even trading 18 yet? 10% of 18 is 1,800? That would take us to 19.8, so that would have to be over a 10% rally in 1 week. Wow. I don't know about that being easily. I bid you safe passage escaping Chicago. Thank you, George. Yes, especially since we have to drive through the expressways, going through the city on the way out. Oh, maybe I'll just take the tollway around the city and pay the tolls. Good morning, Martinez. I'm not sure which is more Fugazi, a sloppy wedgie, or you with a mohawk. Hey, everybody should have a mohawk at one time in their life. What else? So, so that's where we sit with that. What else do we got going on? We got the still grinding higher off the percent beat buy. Uh, Next magnet price for me is around 196 if it can even get up to that. Nvidia had a rare red day yesterday, but gapping up today. Let's just look at some of these others like Amazon. Still a sideways move. So it would either be the break above the close from the day after earnings for bullish case and the 87.5 magnet, or a close below 167.50 roughly. Meta, same thing. The key close, this is a little easier, about 453.25. It have to start closing above 475.50 to really start breaking out and then tackle the 498.34. Though Microsoft is in a lopsided double top territory. With this is a lower probability, but could be an excellent thing for a trailing, if you're in longer term, for a longer term trailing stop area. Apple, nothing. Apple's got nothing. All right. I think that pretty much sums it up going into the open. Let's just take a look at the S&P. Again, pulling off. I would not be surprised to see some more profit taking today. Would not be surprised. Oh, I wanted to point something else out. Yesterday. So you see, yesterday, I'll just show it on the 15-minute. You see how we had the key support areas, key resistance areas, and then it started making higher lows. And then we finally broke out into the close, into the cash close. See that? I mean, it wasn't a big breakout, but it was a breakout with this. And then you had the tick yesterday. The tick yesterday, which you see all these spikes, and this 400 to 600 area was really holding. And then we had one final push down to try to shake things out, and we kept making those higher lows. And then you see how the range shifted? And the range shifted, and this was your first sign. You started to see how it spiked up with nearly a buy program to 1,000. And you see how it started to edge up, and the downtrend was broken here. You know, it was still pretty volatile, but it edged up with those higher lows. That was the thing I was watching for, that potential breakout, after lunch. With the nature of the tick and those higher lows going into it. And then this shakedown move that couldn't really break the market to new lows. And then this spike higher. So that's a little quick analysis if you're learning the tick. If you're learning the tick, that's a little thing. I just wanted to go over that from yesterday. But wow, that looks like the pre-rush. Now, since this pulled back beyond these lows, remember I went over it for the other markets. However this opens, going into the open, if this pushes down, fine. But I'd be watching, again, your first bounce. I actually now probably be watching the 37.5 harmonic for the first bounce area, because it's probably going to come in somewhere around this area it just stalled at. Okay, and then above that would be the 50%. And then the key to really get anything more bullish on the day would have to get above the 62%. So that's exactly how I will be structuring watching the open today. Just trying to teach a couple more things to the longer term people. If this doesn't apply to you, don't worry about it. Ooh, still pushing lower. See, this is what I'm talking about. You're going to keep dragging these levels down until we get some kind of stabilizing level. I hope the game isn't too rigged. Oh yeah, it's Super Bowl Sunday. That's in the back of my mind. Everybody if you're going to watch it, who knows? I'm so tired of the Taylor Swift stuff. I just don't want to hear about it anymore, or a private jet or somebody tracking your jet, or look at that pre-push down. So we could be, I'll be watching based off this for any rollover plays now. That's some negative. Is any news coming out? Because that's a pretty wide push down. I guess I got to root for San Francisco. Net pre-market after earnings last night. Where is it? Where is it? Oh my gosh. Where's net? Oh boy. Oh boy. Cloudflare. I didn't even look at Cloudflare. The flare of the clouds. All right. Wex major targets 129.51 if it continues. Are they making money yet? No, see, they're still not making money. Those wedges patterns are a complete joke. Well, thank you, Coco. Morning, John. Just back in from Dawn Beach bike ride, Siesta Key Beach. Listened well on the end of the ride. What a combo. Well, thank you for the comment also. They're wedge patterns. They are not jokes. Of course you would know it. Oh, boy. Oh, Coco, it's always good to have you around. All right, let's see if we got anything into the open. Stabilizing. Let's see. That was the... All right, so looks like we might be getting a little more stabilizing down here with the end of day resistance and the end of day resistance levels right here spiking into that. So I'm going to be watching to see if this holds right around this 5,015 to 5,017 level. But this has now got some heavy lifting to do. Next, look at how nice sometimes this stuff. Look at this little peak here. We tested, pulled back, tested, broke out, broke just below it, then moved up on higher into these revised CPIs. And look at where that sits with the 25% harmonic. Then we have the 37.5 just below these two lows and right here. Look at this. Another cluster right there. Then you got the 50. So on any rallies, I have, if you're a shorter term trader, those would be key areas I'd be watching for either stop raise or profit targets if you get some kind of buy signal. If this were to break down, your next key support is about 50.13.50. All right, that's where we sit, just trying to do a little shorter term teaching since there's not much going on today. But that's how I'd set stuff up. And let's glance at the tick real quick. Tick, so you know it's interesting. I mean, not a super bullish tick, but not a super bearish tick either. Right here. Opening, you know, close to 300, 250, 300. That's not an overly bearish tick, so it got sold into the open. So unless it starts rolling over and you get really push downs between -4 and -6, that's my first area that I'll watch more, that we could go choppy. And then if we start breaking with push downs to more than one below -8, then I'll start looking for those lows to start breaking. All right. Why was this week really bad, my man? Well, I hope that's, remember, the market is not clear, but CPI next week will make things more clear. You know, you can't just, again, you got to go with this trend until it stops. And just watch today how it closes, if it does close green or red. And CPI is next Tuesday. And with that, I will see everybody Monday. Hopefully the moving the office goes smoothly and everything sets back up okay for this weekend. And then I will see you all on Monday. With that, again, wonderful weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Talk to everyone later. Bye for now.